Good evening and welcome to KDKPG News. Tonight, we have a compelling story of a man who has been enduring a harrowing ordeal in his apartment building in Prince George's County, Maryland. Stephen has been experiencing targeted electromagnetic harassment. Thank you for joining us, Stephen.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us how you first realized that the painful sensations you were experiencing weren't due to a health issue but were actually targeted attacks?
Initially, I thought it was a physical issue. My family and friends suggested it might be a health problem, so I bought a new CPAP machine that was quieter and used less power. I also started logging the events and tried to capture any evidence with photos and videos. I considered ambient electrical forces like bad wiring or power lines, but over time, the patterns in the attacks made it clear that I was being specifically targeted.
That must have been terrifying. What were some of these patterns that made you realize it wasn't just a coincidence?
The attacks progressed, evolved, escalated, and repeated in cycles. It was clear there was intent behind them. The so-called punishment shocks would occur in specific ways that seemed to show the offender was learning, experimenting, and sometimes just trying to inflict as much pain as possible. It was like they wanted to send a crystal-clear message that they wanted me out of the apartment.
Can you describe these sensations and how they changed over time?
The sensations varied a lot. Sometimes it was tickling, other times it was burning. There were shocks, pinching, and even stabbing sensations like hot pins. The power, pain, and sensation would change over time. The offender seemed to know when they were successful because when I was able to block or partially block the effects, they would change settings or tactics and attack other parts of my body.
That's incredibly invasive. How did you cope with this and what measures did you take to protect yourself?
It's been challenging. I refuse to be intimidated and I like to stand my ground. I've been enduring the pain to learn as many details as possible to eventually report the offender to the authorities. I've also been using copper braiding sleeves and toroid ferrite rings to shield wires, which has worked to some degree. But the offenders are quite innovative. They always seem to come up with something more powerful or more painful that breaks through my shielding after brooding for a few hours.
Stephen, resilience is truly inspiring. It must be exhausting to be in a constant battle like this.
Keeps you going, Stephen?
I don't like to be pushed around. I want to show that I won't be ordered around or appear as a helpless victim. It's difficult because their device can affect speakers and motors, which are some of the few countermeasures I have. But I'm determined to stand my ground and eventually bring them to justice.
It's crucial to shed light on these issues. Your story can help others who might be going through something similar and don't know where to turn.
Stephen, thank you for sharing your story with us. It's important for our viewers to understand the severity of this issue and the need for authorities to take action.
Absolutely. Stephen, we wish you strength and success in your fight for justice.
Thank you. I appreciate the support and the opportunity to share my story.
Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story. You're watching KDKPG News, where we bring you the truth, no matter how difficult it is to hear.
And remember, if you or someone you know is experiencing similar issues, don't hesitate to reach out for help. You're not alone. Stay with us, we'll be right back after this short break.